everybody. Welcome back to another episode of God Built This Podcast. I'm your host, Maxine, and we're on episode 219. I feel like I said Maxine. I always think whenever I introduce myself to people, if I don't fully enunciate my name in a way to let you know, like, it's Maxine, some people get it confused. Like, some people say, oh, Maxie? Oh, is it Maxie? Or, yeah, I've gotten that before. And I'm just like, how am I saying it? Or how is it translating in a way that you think I'm saying Maxie? What? So every time I say my name, and then when I say my name in conjunction with my last name, right? So Maxine Morency, I have to like say it in a calm way so that you hear that my name, Maxie, it ends with the "een." It's not just Maxie, right? Or it's not Maxie at all. It's not. And it's not Max. Don't call me Max. We've discussed this already. Let's move on. Okay, so we are in the start of the second semester of the school year as an educator, and I'm pissed. Oh my gosh. I swear I don't want to come on here every episode and complain about work, but my God, when is the door opening for me? When is another door? I'm done. I can't quit. I gotta be wise. I gotta not do that because the way my anxiety is set up, I can't do that. But my goodness, I don't think dread is even the word. I think it's like, and it's not even that's the thing. Like my classes are fine, right? Like my classes are fine. My students are fine. Like, sure, some of them get on my nerves, but it's like, do you like everybody in your life? You know what I mean? So like, not everyone, regardless of you being a kid, doesn't mean that I will automatically like you. You know, like I'm just here to do my job. I'll provide you with quality education. I'll support you in your learning. Obviously, that's my job. So that's what I will do regardless. But some people just don't like, so you being underage doesn't mean I'll just immediately like you because, oh, you're a minor. I don't give a fuck, right? But that's not even the thing. And again, I don't want to keep on. I really want to be more intentional about how much I talk about work on here because I don't want to turn anyone off in case you're tired of this topic. But, I've just been very transparent throughout this podcast about many facets of my life that I share. And this is just a real big facet of my life, as it is for many, and I just find it very frustrating. I was watching this video on YouTube of this woman. Sometimes I watch videos of like people commenting about just life and, just like a podcast, but this person in particular, she was commenting about just how the scam of it all, of how people talk about you can make passive income easy, you can make money in your sleep. And this leads me into one of the topics that we're going to talk about in this episode, but we'll get to it in a moment. But she was basically saying that this whole passive income trend, this whole entrepreneurial trend, and quit your 9 to 5 and yada 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 is a scam. America is a scam. America has a problem. And it's to the point where I didn't even say what I'm about to say. Let me not say that. But it's just all a fucking scam, okay? And oh yeah, so in the video she's talking about how, what is she saying? She's saying how like people will say, oh, if you want to be a girl boss, join my company and sell these products. These products are so good. They're so luxurious that they're not being sold in stores. And basically, whenever someone says that to you, that's a gateway to MLM, which is multi-level marketing, which is ultimately a pyramid scheme in which you are a part of a bigger conglomerate and you have to sell X amount of products to make money and to reach a higher standing in the pyramid. It's not passive income. You know, like anything that you do to make money, it's not in your, like, you're not just doing it like it's a walk in the park. And I think for so long, there's been so much propaganda around that, about that, really, you know, like, oh, well, just join this MLM. You can make money in your sleep. You know, so I remember, oh my goodness, the earlier years, I want to say the second or third year of my career as an educator, I was working in Boston, and one of my colleagues, we were at the same like pay rate, role, all of that at this particular school in Boston. And she was saying how basically one of her side hustles is selling this type of tea. And you guys know what I'm talking, like, if you know what I'm talking, you know what I'm talking about. It's this type of tea that she sells, or this like powder. Yeah, it's like this type of tea, and there's a powdered tincture of that product as well. And it's for weight loss, it's for, you know, fitness and just lifestyle like that. And she was saying how, oh my gosh, you are the perfect person who could sell this because you just look the part. And she was trying to just like chalk me up and persuade me to be a part of her motherfucking team. Like, girl, no. Get your MLM scam out my face and just submit your lesson plans. Like, and you know, oftentimes people who, like, I remember at the time when I was just like, no thanks. She was frowning upon me. She was making me out to feel like I'm the fool, or that, oh, I guess you don't want no money, right? Like, I guess you don't try to make money. I guess you like living the basic life. Okay, I guess so. If that's your perception, then I guess so. Your reality is your perception, so I guess so. And I just think, you know, so many of us has been lied to. We've been lied to think that passive income is passive. You know, it's just another stream of income, but it's not just this easy way. Like, you can't, it's not this easy thing. I remember Leprechaun Bay. He was like bragging a lot about how he's a homeowner, and not only is he a homeowner, he's a landlord. And he was saying how that's a stream of passive income. But you're not doing it in your sleep. You bear the grunt of tenants not paying on time, of tenants being tenants, right? And you having to deal with their complaints and meet their maintenance issues. You know, you have to be the go-to person that they go to complete whatever request that they have for their home that they're renting from you. So this idea of like making easy money, nothing is fucking easy. There's no such thing as easy. Should not even be a word anymore. It shouldn't be synonymous to passive income. It shouldn't be described as easy money. Nothing is easy. You have to sell a little bit of your soul. A little bit of your soul is being sold to make money. At any rate, you have to sell your soul. Now, the percentage of that soul selling, you determine, right? You decide, okay, what's enough is enough. But nonetheless, you're selling your soul. You won't break my soul. Shout out to Beyonce. Like, you're selling your soul. I'm starting, not even, so this semester has begun by the time you listen to this episode, if you're listening to it on time. even prior to listening to On Time, I am in the preliminary period, which is the 2 days before students return. Educators and other staff members are together discussing data, discussing strategies, discussing plans, and it's a lot of talk. I notice a lot of times in education, niggas just like to fucking talk. But what are we talking about now? What is it that you need to say right now again? I can't tell you the amount of meetings I've been a part of in which people just like to stroke their fucking ego. Do you want to stroke your dick as well? Do you want to stroke your dick? There was someone who was speaking in a meeting, and she was just saying stuff just to say stuff. And one thing I hate about when people speak, I hate when they use the phrase, if that makes any sense. If that makes any sense. It's like, walking down a park and seeing the stars in the sky for what they are, if that makes any sense. It doesn't. That's why you said that. That's why you, it doesn't. Can you try again? It doesn't make any sense. Nigga, if that makes any, it doesn't. Next. Who's next? It doesn't make any sense. And then they go on in their speech. So there was a strategy that I came up with, and it really related to the souls of the participants. And I feel like it's a great way to resonate with those who come from different backgrounds, if that makes any sense. Huh? Like, whatever happened to saying what you said and putting a period? I feel like some of us get so pussy. We get so fucking pussy about things, and then we end our speech with, if that makes any sense, or we end our speech with a question mark in our tone. We could just we could go to the park. What are you asking me with the declarative statement? Because that doesn't make sense. That doesn't make any sense. So anyway, what I'm saying is we have these moments and times that we just have to decide, do I pop off now or later? And then when we choose to not pop off because, oh shit, I gotta keep this job, right? Ah, shit, I got this bill I gotta pay. Ah, shit. We live in a capitalistic society in which we have to pay taxes. We have to, pay for our maintenance and upkeep, and it is expensive to be poor. And honestly, people don't want to talk about it. It's expensive to be rich too. It's expensive, period, to live, regardless if you're rich or not, right? And the reason why I say it's expensive to be rich as well is there is a rich tax for those who make of a certain bracket of money, right? So if you are of the 6-figure bracket, right? You're making $100,000 a year and then some. There's a tax for you that you have to pay. There's a specific increase that you now enter because of your higher income. So regardless, yeah, okay, one may say, well, you got the money, you can still, it's still money that I have to now give away because, just because I got more money than you, you're deserving. See, that's why I never was okay with the whole, well, Bill Gates or Jeff Bezos could give everyone in America $5,000 and he'll still be a billionaire. Like, what the fuck? We're not owed his money. Let's change the system overall. Let's figure out a way that we could all live, or like those who are working minimum wage could live enough that it's livable, and not just livable, but they could live comfortably. Right? It's the whole system. So I shouldn't be mad at a Bill Gates or Jeff Bezos because they happen to be a part of the 1% and then force them or make them feel guilty, even though I'm sure they're totally fine, sniffing coke along their kitchen island. They're allegedly, but I'm sure they're fine. The point is, I don't, even in where I am financially, I still don't see people who are of a higher bracket as people who how am I saying it? I don't see as if that they're owing me something. It's not their, it's not their fault. It's this fucking system. Anyway, that video I was watching, so she was just talking about passive income is just not as passive as we think it. Everything that we do is work. If we want to, it's everything. Anyway, yeah. So when I was saying do I pop off now? Do I pop off later? Right? And then you decide to not pop off because you have all these excuses, these reasons that are valid. Of course, you got to keep your job. You gotta make money. You gotta do all these fucking bullshit to live in this matrix, all to do it again tomorrow. What a bore. Honestly, if I didn't really try to find things in my daily life to find pleasure in, to find joy in, I don't want to tell you what I would do. I don't know. I really don't want to tell you what I would do, because I think there's just this mundane energy that comes about when you realize what this world is, and how if you happen to get out of the matrix, you're one of one. You just figured it out, and you're still amongst those who are of the minority. So there's this woman who works 4 hours a day. Yes, this is what she said. She works 4 hours a day and she generates $2 million in a year. Let me just end the fucking episode. I'm just so sick of everybody. I'm sick of what the fuck is this? But here's the caveat, right? The headline is enticing. Oh my gosh, I want to work just 4 hours a day. That's a fucking lie. She's working a lot. She's working nonstop. It's 24 hours. There's no break. She always has to produce content, right? She's a content creator. Obviously, I'm a content creator as well, hence this podcast and some more stuff that I have on the way. But anyway, so her name is Kat Norton. She quit her job, her typical 9-to-5 job. I think she was an accountant. Let me open this link actually. And she quit her job in 2 years ago at this point. Almost 2 years ago. So 2021, she quit her job January 2021 to become a full-time entrepreneur and created 9 courses, or 9 more courses, quote. So she's had a amount of courses prior to, and she added 9 more that teach different career skills. Now, again, this is another example from the video that I watched recently of how you have these people talking about, you can make passive income, here's what you could do, da da da. But she was pointing out the fuckery of it all. It's not as easy as one make it seem. So she was saying, anyway, so Kat Norton, she created extra courses and described it as her passive income earnings. She started selling an online Excel course on her website, and 2 months later, her passive income earnings were more than her monthly paycheck at her full-time management consultant job. I quit my job in January 2021 to become a full-time entrepreneur and created 9 more courses that teach different career skills. And in October 2021, I crossed a major milestone. I made $100,000 in sales in just one day. Today, at 29, I've built Miss Excel into a business that generates more than $2 million a year. My boyfriend Mike quit his corporate sales job and became my chief financial officer and vice president of sales in April 2022. The best part is that I work just 4 hours a day. That's a lie. Here's a look at my work day, at my typical day. Here's what she says. So she says she prioritizes personal wellness in the morning. If you don't kiss my black ass. So she meditates in the morning, keeping her calm and centered. And that's a part of her work day, okay? So I start my day with a virtual meditation group on choices and outcomes at 7 a.m. Her boyfriend, her parents, and some members of her business community all join in. So this is obviously, this is a virtual group. After meditating, she and her boyfriend make breakfast together. She usually makes oven-baked oatmeal and plot the day. Now I know your breakfast, okay. And plot the day over coffee on our balcony, okay. Plot the day. Are you making a mass? Are you creating the next AI? Like, what are you talking about? Plotting the day. It was one of my favorite activities. Later, my personal trainer now she has a personal trainer. Her personal trainer comes to the house, or she does hot yoga at a local studio, so she has more time, right, to work out got it. Her and her boyfriend meet back up for a quick swim. Oh, you have time to go in the water? Okay. And a sauna session at home. So she has a sauna in her house before getting ready for the workday. Okay, so all of this before she gets ready for the workday. Now, she says she works 3 to 4 hours a day, even more specific. She starts working around noon. Her house is equipped with fast Wi-Fi, an office, and a content recording studio, which makes it an incredible place to work remotely. She organizes her days based on the task that she's doing. For example, on Mondays, she does more creative activities like setting goals and brainstorming business strategies and content ideas. I'm always thinking about how I can grow my business and make more of an impact. On Tuesdays, I crank through a to-do list with tasks like filming content, editing social media posts. Anyway, the images that I'm looking at right now, she's literally just posing for the camera. And it's like a 2-in-1 shot. The camera is her posing into another camera in which it looks like she's like in a still shot, demonstrating a TikTok video, a reel video from IG, and that's literally it. She does this 4 hours a day, every day. Quote unquote 4 hours a day, but that's not really 4 hours a day, because people don't talk about this. When you're content creating, there's no like end point really, right? Anyone can email you at any time. You may come across some more research, more activities to look into to further your revenue. You may just find yourself working later than you would a typical 9 to 5. The point is, sure, let's say this is a legitimate business, right? Let's say it's not an MLM, not a scam at all. Let's say that. Okay, but you're not really talking about what it really takes. And I think we're just so far gone in our society. We're so far gone into believing this propaganda that passive income is a thing, or that passive income is a thing that comes easy and easy money comes. Like, no. Even if a nigga gives you money off the street, maybe not off the street, but like if someone just gives you money, that's not easy, right? Like eventually, maybe, right? Maybe in certain circumstances, like even if you get money from your parents, maybe you won't feel guilted into like paying them back or making them feel like they gave you money, you didn't live up to their, like, maybe none of that won't happen. But the point is, generally, I feel like oftentimes when people give you money, it's to a cost. It's to a cost. I don't know, maybe I'm just very pessimistic. Oh my gosh. Am I being just super negative? Maybe not. Maybe that's not true. Like maybe if people give you money, it's not with I guess what I'm saying is if people give you money, like they're expecting something from you, right? They're expecting you to be their slave. They're expecting you to, okay, let me stick it in your ass now. Let me stick it in your ass. I gave you $500. Okay. I gave you let me stick it in your ass. Like, I don't know. I don't want to be stuck in the ass. So, anyway. So, Kat Norton is a 4-hour workday baddie. Good for you. Whoopi Goldberg came back on her rhetoric that Holocaust wasn't about race. And, of course, she received some backlash. Recently, I heard that she clarified again that she didn't mean no ill will. What she said prior to that second clarification, she said, quote, "It doesn't change the fact that you cannot tell a Jew on the street. You could find me. You couldn't find them. That was a point I was making, but you would have thought I'd taken a big old stinky dump on the table, butt naked." End quote. And, many people got up in arms about this statement here because it presents this rhetoric that it's not about race, or that what Hitler says, it makes yourself seem like an apologist for Hitler. Shout out, where's Kanye? What's going on? Oh, Ye, sorry. Where's Ye? Haven't heard from him in a minute. But, I think about this topic from time to time, race, ethnicity, sex, gender. We like to conflate everything because it's easier to digest. And I feel like the overall point that she's making is purposely being ignored because of the sensitivity that we've created as a society around the Holocaust. And I just find that to be just disingenuous, like you're purposely being emotionally dumb right now, or you're lacking some level of rationale when you're talking about this topic. Like there's some topics that people are only going to react emotionally about. So, if we challenge ourselves to look beyond our emotion and just read what she's saying, I'm going to say the quote again. It doesn't change the fact that you cannot tell a Jew on the street. You could find me. The comparison here is brown skin versus white skin. That's the comparison she's making. She's making it blatantly clear that her brown skin would have been way more obvious than another white skin who happened to be a so-called Jew at the time. So I think that is the bigger point here. And we could have these conversations and still agree that what Hitler did was horrible. We could still agree that we didn't agree with his takes and his killing of Jews. Like, that's not, it doesn't have to mean one or the other. So I think, when I look at this topic here and how she is just not being heard, it's like we just can't talk about some things anymore. We can't talk about some things, and if we do, we get in trouble. And I'm just over this type of response when it comes to topics like this. Okay, well, what's next on the market here? So first of all, let's talk about Emily in Paris. I love that show. It's just such a cute show. I am just such a fan of the aesthetic. It's on Netflix, by the way, in case you're not aware. And it's on season 3. So I finished it. I'm going to try to not say any spoilers. First of all, I don't like the new boyfriend that Emily has, that black guy, the only black character, actually. Is there any other black person on the show? No, but just that guy. There's no black woman. Oh, no, there is another black character. Oh, there's a couple. What am I talking about? But there's no black women. There's a black man who looks like who cosplays as a woman. Let's say that. But there's no there's no woman. A woman. But what is a woman? Anyway, so the black boyfriend, I get it. Sure, he's handsome and he has this je ne sais quoi about him. Got it. I just think he's a dick, though. I don't like him. I don't like his personality. I think he's an asshole. I feel like he has a stick up his ass, and I'm just not a fan of him at all. So I'm kind of happy at the ending. And I'm not going to give a spoiler. I'm happy at the ending of this season. I really do hope that things work out with someone else for Emily. Let me just say that. And I'm going to keep it at that. So let's talk about Gabrielle Union. She recently came out and said that she does not regret cheating on her first husband. Look, it's the honesty for me. I mean, hey, it is what it is. I did what I did. I said what I said, and I'm standing by it. And in her stance, she actually said, though, that she kind of wished she felt guilty about it, but she doesn't. And that's just what it is. She described the type of marriage it was and how within that marriage, she was the breadwinner. She was the one making the most money. She was the one paying all the bills. It was all on her back. And I also believe that due to how she described the relationship, it seemed like there was just an understanding that she could do whatever she wants, being that she is the breadwinner. It just was what it was. Some people alluded to the fact that maybe, or to the possibility, not fact, to the possibility that he may have cheated on her as well, and it was like this tit for tat situation. I'm not too sure about that, but in her description of the marriage, she just basically made it very clear that she doesn't really feel much guilt after sorry, a sneeze is trying to come up, but excuse me, thank you. In case you said God bless you. Or gesundheit. So let's see, what did she say? She said, oh, that's what you're doing? You're trying to feel that, I don't know. But she was basically making it clear that the relationship that she had with her former husband, this is the guy that she was married to before Dwayne Wade. His name is Chris Howard. He is a former NFL player. She was married to him for 5 years, and they got divorced in 2006. She said that she was paying all the bills. She was, quote, working my ass off. And I felt like that's what comes, the spoils of riches. Basically making it clear that that is what is entitled to her, that she has the right to cheat on her husband because she is the one making all the money. And I find this perspective fascinating because, well, only because of the backlash she's getting. Now, I really don't like Gabrielle Union anymore. I used to be a fan of hers just before I knew about her and Dwayne Wade, and I feel like she kind of really made him a pussy, a cuck. I think she has great influence upon Zion, the transgender child of Dwayne Wade. I think she is someone who likes to say outlandish things for attention, like a clout chaser. I think she's very talented, and I really just admired her talent in the movies that I watched her in the things that I've seen her host. Like, I remember she hosted the BET Awards years ago, and she just does a great job in her comedic timing, in her just her acting abilities overall. I think she's a great actress. But aside from that, I think her personal way of doing things, just her personal life, bled more into her talents. Like, I feel like I haven't seen much of her talent as much as I did earlier on as I do now. And I think that's because of just the way of the world. We're so open, and celebrities are so probably too transparent. Like when Gabrielle Union talked about how she eats Dwayne Wade's ass. What? Like, some things could just be between you and your partner. Some things don't need to be shared aloud to a friend. Even whisper, like, don't even whisper that shit to me. Some things don't need to be shared. But nonetheless, I feel like her personal life has been overriding her strong talents and her gifts and her strong abilities to really just be the star that she has shown herself to be, that she is, but currently is just, and for the last few years now, it hasn't really been the forefront. But anyway, the quote-unquote entitlement that she's presenting in her description of her former marriage really is an entitlement that a lot of husbands carry, I think. I think husbands who are the breadwinner, husbands who are the ones paying the bills, all the bills, and really working their ass off, as she quotes, I think there is this natural entitlement that they feel. And also just like the whole, well, I'm a man thing, right? And I think this sentiment is very much so of a man. Like, a man would say this, which makes me just laugh because I think about her current marriage with Dwayne Wade and how even prior to her saying this, I feel like she's the nigga. I feel like she's the one who really just grab him by the balls. Like, she's the one that tells him what to do, what we're doing. And, sometimes that's really most, even though like you have these alpha men, and I'm saying that respectfully. I know people have been tainting that term. Like, I like an alpha. I like a man who knows his manhood and he stands in his masculinity. Like, no, be that nigga. I love that. So I'm not saying it in a way that's derogatory, how it's been tainted over the years. Just like how woke used to be this like genuine description of someone who's awaking to the matrix of this world. And now woke is this liberal propaganda usage to describe someone's right to change their pronouns and tell you they're a man, but you're really a fucking woman in my face. Like, what are we doing? But what is a woman? Anyway, so where was I? So in her marriage with Dwayne Wade, she has always presented herself as the one, like that nigga. Like, it feels like she's the woman, or she's the man and he's the woman, you know? So this quote and her sharing this aloud has not been much of a surprise for me, because I just see her as someone who really calls the shots. I always just found that so much of a turnoff. Like, I never understood the attraction for, one, younger men, and two, men with no balls. Like, I know there's a lot of women that I've witnessed who really just drag their niggas. Like, just drag them. Like, I was on a trip like a month or two ago at this point, and I was amongst this married couple, and she y'all, never in my life have I seen the way that she speaks to him is as if he's her child, you know? So I remember the first impression I got of her was she was entering the Sprinter van that we all got into at the airport upon arrival, and they're entering the minivan or the Sprinter van, and she tells him, "Don't sit next to me. I've been sitting next to you the whole day. I don't want to see you. I don't want to sit next to you." Literally, that's the first few words that she says to him in my presence, as basically my first impression of her and of them and their dynamic. And I'm just sitting there like, oh, is this? And then he's just like, just kind of like just kind of like shrugging it off, following what she's saying. He literally sits somewhere else. Like, I never in my life, I never want to do that. I would never come out my mouth and say some shit like, what? And look, I don't advocate hitting women, right? As a man, I don't advocate men hitting women, but in that moment, maybe a little like, bitch, shut the fuck, like a little something like rough her up a little will be okay. I mean, I don't know. I just feel like respect should be given regardless of the gender, you know? And I definitely don't feel like you being the woman, you thinking, oh, well, I'm the woman, I could speak to you however I please because I'm not like a physical threat to you, so you shouldn't feel some type of way. I don't abide to that mindset. I just find that to be it was uncomfortable. And it was clear that I was the first one experiencing this because everyone else was used to it. He was obviously used to it. Her husband. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, like that's disturbing. But anyway, that's what I see in Gabrielle Union and Dwayne Wade. Like I could see her doing something similar to that. I could see her talking to him like, nigga, you ain't shit type of thing. And obviously Dwayne Wade, at least from what we could see from the outside in, he's the one he's the breadwinner, I would assume. Like I would make the assumption that he makes more money. You know, and I think with Chris Howard, Gabrielle's former husband, he probably was a retired football player. And to my knowledge, I know that with football player money, it depends on what role or what position you're playing for you to make a certain amount of money. And if you're picked up by an agent, what your contract looks like, and how many plays you're a part of, right? You may be on a team, but you're not included in the game. You may be a bench player, but hey, you're in the NFL, but the bench player maybe you're making 90, 100,000, maybe, it's not really that much in comparison to someone like a Tom Brady. So I think with all that being said, she had to bear the grunt. And look, I think there's something to that, really. Look, I'm not necessarily saying go out and do that, right? But I just feel like there's a level of rationale that I could understand, right? Like, if I'm not, especially if I'm the woman and I'm the breadwinner, I just feel like just naturally, in a way, like, I just wouldn't want that dynamic. Like, not too much. I think, of course, there's times you have seasons in your relationships in which you may be the one taking care more of the financial responsibilities, and that's totally fine. I just see it as the way that she described this was she was the breadwinner, period. And 5 years is not a long time. So if she's saying she was a breadwinner, I'm assuming it was for the duration of their marriage, the whole 5 years. Okay, so that probably was just enough for her to feel like, you know what, this is not the dynamic that I want. And so she's frustrated with that. Maybe he's not getting enough opportunities, one that she wanted, right? Maybe it wasn't as pleasing, attractive for her to just stay in a marriage that made her feel financially frustrated. With any type of frustration, people let things out differently, right? You may go to the bottle. You may go to the gym. You may go to drugs. And you may go to a dick, right? And she went to a dick or several, allegedly. But from what she just said, obviously. So I just feel like ultimately this is like, I don't want to put more backlash to her. I understand what she's saying. And, I think people adding more backlash to her is just because she's a woman and this behavior is more expected from a man, which I get it. Like, just the gender stereotype, all that makes sense. I get that. But look, she said herself verbatim that she wishes she felt more guilt about her behavior during her first marriage. But, end quote, she didn't. She did not feel the guilt that she wants to feel, right? Like, oh, am I a bad person because I don't feel guilty about cheating on my former husband? She may feel that way, like, damn, maybe I'm fucked up because I really don't feel bad. Like, I felt like this is what I wanted to do. This is what I needed to do for my own sanity. And this is what I did. And that's what she did. So shout out to her. I don't know. Look, she got out the marriage, 5 years, up and done. It is what it is. I think it just really speaks to her transparency and her obviously trying to sell her latest book. So there's that. But look, I think there is some rationale one can make. I was watching this video of a woman commenting on this in particular, and she was just loud with it. Just like, oh, the same backlash we give to men, we should give to her. And how basically there was a part that she was saying that something about submission. I forgot how it came up, but she was just basically saying that women, like, stop thinking you need to submit to a man. You're not an animal. Animals submit. Human beings don't submit. Da, 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 da. And that got me to think about the word in it of itself and how it has been just such a trying word. Meaning people have really just created their own identities around their reaction to that word submission, right? Submit to your husband, submit, and people have taken it to a place where if you even agree with any part of that definition of the word, or just the word submit. If you even said submissive, subservient, submit, submission, like subway, it doesn't matter. There was this tear down, this backlash put upon women who abide by that, who wanted to and took pleasure in submitting to their man. When I was talking to my friend when I was back home in Boston, shout out to Izzy, hey girl, I was telling her, like, I like submission. I like cooking for my man. I like sucking his dick. I like, you know what I mean? What are we talking about? Like, none of it feels like a chore. You know, none of it feels like, oh, come on, my legs are open, let's get this over with. I don't ever feel like, let's get this over with. There was a scene in Sex and the City, the first movie, not the sequel. The first one's really the best one. Anyway, there was a scene in the first movie of Miranda having sex with Steve. And Miranda, at the time, she was just like this high-class lawyer. She was the partner of her firm, or one of the partners of her firm. And she was just trying to have sex with her husband. Yet, of course, she's tired. She's working a lot of hours. She's a mother, you know, they're parents to their son. And she just never really cared about being sexual and sensual with her husband. So in this scene, they're about to have sex. She's, of course, tired, but she's gonna just, well, in that scene, she's just like, oh, let's just go ahead and do it, right? So she literally says to him verbatim, can we just get this over with already? I'm not like, she says verbatim, can we just get this over with already? Like, bitch, what? And he was so turned off that his dick went limp. He got off her and went to the bathroom and then went back to bed to go to sleep. Like, it was over. It was over. And I just think about, like, dang, I don't ever want to get like that. Like, I don't ever want to get to a point where I am feeling like, let's just get over it. Did you come? Are you done? I don't care if I got work in 30 minutes. Let's get this nut off. Let's have fun. Let's go through the rush and the adrenaline of it all. Like, there should always be fun attached to it. Am I living in La La Land? Is it just me? Is this my 31-year-old self just, I don't know. I hope in 5, 7, 10 years I still feel the same. But I'm just like I take sexual pleasure very seriously. Okay? This is a serious matter. But it's important. You know, I think it's important to care about your pleasure and care about the pleasure of your partner and not see it as a chore. So yeah, when I was talking to my friend, I was like, yeah, girl, I love doing all these things for him, with him, on him, in him. Like, sign me up. And if we live together, that'll be even top notch. Like, it'll be amazing. You know, but yeah, I just think about, like, you know, we get so run down, though. You know, I talked about early in the pod how just work could kind of break your soul, how you could feel like you're in a rut, or how things will never be better than what they are, and you got to find a way to be content. I was watching this podcast, and this lady was talking about being radically content. And how basically with radical contentment, not only are you grateful for what you have, but you're present, you're just really grasping the moment, you're not just only thinking about the future. Though you may be aspirational, you have goals for yourself and all these things, you are finding a place to settle in the present. And also, you may find yourself being nostalgic about the past and wanting to relive moments from the past. And it's just always this in-between thing, right? And this is an experience that many people feel and go through, right? Like, dang, I remember when, or, oh, I can't wait when. It's always one of those things, right? As I remember when, or I can't wait until, I can't wait when. It's always these future tenses or past tenses. We don't have enough conversations about the present and how we're presently feeling and how we're presently grateful. To be fully transparent right now, I cut this episode in 2 parts. So this part of the episode, I am recording on another day. So I'm saying that because I have a quick update, because I know in the earlier part of this episode, I talked about, just the woes of my fucking job. But there are some blessings, right? Like, look. Again, so I talked about starting this new semester, and again, I'm at this other campus and how it's just like shit and so many things to complain about. I feel like I don't talk enough about, I have said that it's not the kids. Like, I enjoy them. I think they're great. Like, for the most part, of course, like I said, like, there's obviously some people it just don't vibe with you, shut the fuck up. But for the most part, I really enjoy my students and other students. Like, I have relations with, just like great moments in the hallway. Like, oh, hey, so-and-so, so that's a good time. But anyway, so today I came home from work, but while I was at work, I had 2 of my students come to me with a letter. And in the letter, they're just genuinely sharing their love for me in a respectful manner. But they're just saying how they enjoy my class, how they enjoy me, they appreciate me as their teacher. They love how I'm in a good mood all the time, and I always help them. And it was just like very innocent and cute. And one of the letters said how he wishes that I remain his teacher for the remainder of the year. And that brought me to really sit still with myself, because I realized, you know what? Yes, I've been selfish in my thoughts and in my feelings about just like, fuck this. Da, 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 da. And again, I always stamped that it wasn't about the kids. It was just about, it's really the adults that always fuck shit up sometimes, most of the times, all the time. And just the frustrations with that. But I had to realize that, okay, despite the adults being fucking annoying for the most part, it's the kids who benefit or don't benefit from your reaction to that. Right? So if I were to have been like, fuck it, I'm done, and leave, I would have been another adult teacher, right? Another teacher who has left them in this position, and now they have to continue feeling this whole rut of a new teacher yet again in the same role. And this has been happening 3 times or twice already for this grade level. And look, that's a burden to bear in some ways, because you may be dealing with your mental health, right? And opportunities for yourself, while you also want to make sure that you're meeting the needs and making sure the students are not feeling like, oh, it's me, or you're abandoning me, stuff like that. So when he said, I hope you remain my teacher for the remainder of the year, it just made me realize, like, Okay, I'll just finish out the fucking year, right? I'll just finish it out. And then like, look, like what truly does, this sounds like a Hallmark moment, but like really what truly does matter is them, right? Like at the end of the day, at the beginning, throughout the day, is really them that's at the center of it all. And your presence or lack thereof is really going to impact them than it does anyone else. And I'm saying this to myself, obviously. I'm speaking to myself right now. So my intention really was to be fucking gone and leave and start at my previous campus for this new semester. So my goal was to like, okay, wrap up Christmas break and return to my previous campus come January. But that didn't work out because the higher ups was like, well, it's better if you just was to just finish out the whole year. Which, look, yes, it is better because you don't want to add more change and shakeups to what has already been shaken up. Like it's been like 2 or 3 months since the school year started, and there wasn't a consistent teacher available for these students for this specific grade level. So my presence is refreshing, relieving, and it speaks volumes. Their test scores are the best out of, not to toot my own horn, but beep beep. Okay, out of my counterparts, mine is the best. And look, it says a lot about me. Anyway, so when I read that part in the letter, I was like, oh, okay, I guess I'll just finish out the fucking year, you know. But it really made me feel good. It was a beautiful moment. These were two boys, two of my male students, which I feel like, I don't know, I get love for my female students, but I think when a male student, especially these two, they're very much like, initially they were very kind of like, not introverted, but just, they weren't immediately opening up to me and trying to, you know, be this like, oh, see, look at me. Like they weren't doing much of that. Like I've had male students who tried to, oh, you're my favorite teacher, like just trying to sucker up to me. And these two weren't an example of that. So seeing how they opened up and just really just became comfortable with me, it's really a beautiful thing. That was a beautiful moment to read both of those letters and just really feel that sentiment. And afterwards I was like, oh, I was kind of like making fun of them. And of course they're looking at me like, oh, I just had to write it, miss. Trying to play it all like, nigga, shut the fuck up. You like me, okay? You really like me. So that was a beautiful moment. And, you know, I'm just going to do my best. I'm going to finish out the year strong. And wherever I go next is where I go. I don't know what the next step will be. I'm taking everything fucking day by day. I've been applying to positions within the organization that's outside of the classroom element, because as you guys know, I would like to just really explore outside of the classroom opportunities. And I've applied to positions outside of the school altogether, like at other schools, at other organizations, at other companies, businesses, online or in person, hybrid, like all those things. So we'll see where things go. But yeah, that was a beautiful moment. So thank you again for your support, you guys. Thank you so much for your love, and the subscribers that I've been receiving on YouTube have been an increase. Last time I checked, it's now 32. I love it. Look, I'm grateful. I feel like obviously relatively it's, in comparison to someone of 1,000 or 500,000 or 300,000 subscribers on YouTube, that's like, what? Nothing. But it's something. At one point I was just at 2 or 3 or 4, And then I was at 12, and then I was at 16. Now it's like, oh my gosh, 32 of you guys. Like, that's a lot to me. That's really awesome. I definitely want to make it to 100 and 500 and definitely 1,000. 1,000 will be a milestone, because at that point I will be definitely eligible for monetization on YouTube, and that's always great. So let's move forward. If you have yet to subscribe on YouTube to God Built This Podcast, please be sure to do so. That is where you'll see the visual element of this podcast. Eventually, you'll see me. I will post myself in the video at some point. I don't know when. We'll see. Whenever I do it, I'll definitely say it. But in the meantime, there is still a visual element. If you like to see the pictures of the topics that I am discussing, please be sure to check out the YouTube page, and tell a friend to tell a friend, share, leave a comment, subscribe, and leave a review. Also on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Anchor, Google Podcasts, all of that. Leave a review, and I will check in with you guys next time. God bless. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of God Built This Podcast with your host, Maxine. If you liked it, leave a review, share, and subscribe. God bless.